Hey guys! I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you guys are listening, subscribing, and commenting. I really appreciate the support. And of course, if you guys want to support me further, please do so by going to my Patreon site. The link is in the description below, and you can give me $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you prefer. In this video, I want to speak to you guys about how INFJs are terrible at keeping in touch with the people that they care about. I mean, absolutely horrendously terrible. I wish I could explain to you how bad we are at keeping in touch, especially if you're a non-INFJ. You're probably thinking, you can't be that bad. And we are that bad. And if you're an INFJ, you're probably saying, yes. You're nodding your head and saying, yes, I'm terrible. I feel bad about it, but I'm just so bad at keeping in touch. Now, a lot of people assume it's because we don't love them, or we don't like them, or we don't care about them. And I wish that people would just stop jumping to that freaking conclusion every single time, because it's so upsetting to me specifically and to us in general as INFJs, because we do care. We really do care, but we're just terrible at keeping in touch, right? This happens to me all the time, especially with my parents and especially with my mom. I love her to death. I really do. I really care about her. But I have chosen to live this weird life where I live almost all of my life really far away from them, thousands and thousands of miles away in a completely different country doing random things. God knows what. That's what my mom says. God knows what you're doing with your life. And so I do live very far away from her. And on top of that, I'm terrible at keeping in touch. So it's just like the worst possible combination of things. And that makes her always feel she's an ENFJ. And for her, words of affirmation are pretty important, but also just messages in general and constant calling and keeping in touch is very important to her. That shows love to her. And I'm terrible at it. And so she always ends up thinking that I don't love her. And I constantly have to reassure her, I do love you. I really do love you, but I just am bad at keeping in touch. I really do care about you, etc., right? So now, of course, I've put it into my schedule once a week that I message her at least once a week. Something or the other, I'll send her random pictures or things like that so she knows I'm alive and thinking about her. The fact that I have to put it into my schedule really shows you how bad we are at keeping in touch. I mean, I wish I could do it automatically, but I really cannot. I really wish I was a little bit better at it. Now, of course, what I wish people would understand about an INFJ is that we really do care. We come across as cold and aloof and emotionless robots. And I've done videos on this in the past. We really are not. We really are not like that. And we're not keeping in touch with you because we hate you or we despise you or things like that, or we're door slamming you. People always message me saying that, I just learned about the INFJ door slam and I know you're an INFJ. Have you door slammed me? And I'm like, oh my God, no, I haven't. And so that's always another thing that comes up nowadays for me because I speak about INFJ-ness a lot with people and I ask them their MBTI type and I'm always bringing them to conversations. And so they know about the door slam or they learned about it somehow. And they always kind of randomly message me and I have a couple of people message me like that. I'm like, no, you haven't been door slammed. I haven't door slammed you. We're still friends. I've just been really busy with my stuff, right? And so, as I said, I wish people would forget or not do these nonsensical things where they jump to random conclusions that we don't love them or care about them and actually ask us, what's going on with you? I haven't heard from you in a while. And so that's what I tell people. I've actually started preempting all of my relationships like that. And all of my extroverted friends know I'm terrible at keeping in touch. And so they're the ones who usually end up messaging me and asking me how things are going, etc., right? Which is fine, but I also still feel like it's such a burden to put on the other person. They are the ones who have to take care of keeping in touch with you. You can't do it because you're a child, because you're behaving like a child, or you're in your obsessions and you forget about the real world. What kind of nonsense is that? I feel like it's such a cop-out. You're like, well, I'm terrible at it, so I'm not going to do it. You're going to have to do it. And I really don't like that about ourselves. I really don't like that about me. And so I've really been trying as much as possible for me as an individual to try and figure out, okay, who are the people I really do want to keep in touch with, okay? And these are the people I try to message at least once a month. I'm really trying to be once a week, but usually it ends up being once a month. And I just message them randomly and I'll be like, hi, I hope you're well, just thinking about you. And I'll send them like a nice picture or a meme or something funny. And that's it. Nothing major, nothing special. It's not anything that is very well thought out. Unless I know they're going through something specific, like perhaps they're getting married or going to have a baby or something major like that. And then, of course, I'll bring that up. But mostly people are just living their lives casually, doing their thing. And so, I'll just be like, hi, how are you? And I'll just kind of put them in, just tell them that I am thinking about them, right? Now, of course, this is not for everyone that I know. And I know hundreds of people, but I only do this for perhaps 5 or 7 people in my life. Now, of course, my family is a big one for that. My sister and mother especially, because they're the most important people to me on this planet. And then a couple other friends. And randomly, I'll message them. The good thing is about these friends is that they know that I'm terrible at keeping in touch, and I get involved with my work, and I get busy, and I get obsessed, and I forget that the world exists. And they know this because I've done this so many times in the past, and they've still chosen, which shows me how amazing they are and how good of a friend they are. They've still chosen to stick to me as a friend and still stick by me as a friend. And that is really, truly like a gift to me as an INFJ, to every INFJ. Any friend who chooses to stick with us, even despite our craziness, despite our oddities, despite the fact that we're terrible in keeping in touch, they still are there for us. And I feel like that's one of the gifts from the universe to me. I feel so grateful for these friendships, right? And so I try as much as possible to message them as well. I don't want to always be the one who is being messaged. I don't want to be that childlike person who doesn't know how to keep in touch with people and who uses work as an excuse. Because I do that all the time. I use my work as an excuse and say, oh, but I've been so busy. Well, other people are busy too. And for me specifically, I have nothing really that I'm doing except work. I don't have a child to take care of, children to take care of. I don't have a family to take care of. I'm far away from my family, so I really don't have those family functions to go to. I've barely any friends that I hang out with, really. And so really, all of those things that I say are just excuses. I'm just making up this shit in my head. I'm just making it up as an excuse. So if I really do care about someone, and I do have, as I said, a list of these people, that I really do appreciate their friendship in my life, they've been there for me through a long period of time, as much as possible, I will try every few weeks or every few months, or at least as much as possible, to message them and say hello and say, how are you doing? And I hope everything is well. Now, with some of them, I just message them once a year. And we are I think our friendship is kind of disappearing or dissipating because they live in Toronto or they live in Canada and I live here. And, eventually our friendship is going to disappear perhaps. So it's okay. That's fine. But with people who are in Chiang Mai and I'm next to them all the time, and even then I only message them like once a month, I feel like that's just such a terrible thing to do. But some of them, of course, they know who I am and how I am, so they don't care either way. They will be the ones who message me. Some of them are extrovert. Most of them are extroverts, so they'll end up messaging me once a week, right? And that's cool. I mean, I love that. I love them for it, and I appreciate it. And I do tell them that on a daily basis, on a constant basis, that I'm grateful for their friendship and I'm grateful that they are good at keeping in touch because I'm not that good at it. And I always tell them this, because that kind of preempts a lot of the confusion and misunderstandings that might happen, and that do happen with an INFJ. That's one of the reasons why I think we're misconstrued as being cold or unemotional or not caring, because we don't say these things out loud. We don't tell people what we're like. We assume that they'll just understand automatically. They do not understand automatically. You have to tell them, I'm terrible at keeping in touch. I'm an introvert. I don't like hanging out with people too much or too often. If you want to hang out with me, please message me. And if I'm free and I'm in the mood, I will hang out with you. Things like that. Just tell them openly who you are, what you are all about. And eventually they'll understand all this and you won't have to tell them over and over again, right? And a lot of my friends just understand that this is who I am. And so they're fine with it, right? The new friends that I make, I have to kind of teach them and train them on who I am so they understand who I am and they're not afraid or they're not annoyed when I don't message them back or I'm, a loner or spending time on my own. It's not because I hate you. It's because I am just a weird person who likes to hang out by herself more than hanging out with other people. Okay? So again, I really want to emphasize the fact that it is all about communication with us. Yes, we're terrible at keeping in touch, but it doesn't mean that this is going to be our life for the rest of our life. We can change that. We can put it into our schedule that we're going to message these 7 people once a week or once a month or something like that, right? And so you can make changes in your life. You are not stuck being who you are just because you're like, oh, this is how I am for the rest of my life. No, you're not, okay? You can make changes. You can adjust yourself. So do that. Do that the best way that you can in your own life, in your own way, okay? So yeah, we suck at keeping touch, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that this is the way that we are for the rest of eternity. I hope this makes sense. I want us to be better than we are as INFJs. I know we can be, and so I really want us to do better, try better, and I know we can. So I'm really always trying to push you guys and push myself, obviously, as well. I won't talk about anything that I wouldn't do myself. So that's how it goes, right? Again, if you guys like this video, or if you didn't like it, you can message me below, comment below. And of course, you can support me further by going to my Patreon site. The link is in the description below. And I shall see you guys the next time around. Bye for now.